Hi, my name is Myra Tainsley, and I'm recording this on May the 25th, 2017. And I am the proud single mother of a 24-year-old with autism, high functioning autism. His name is Marquis, and currently uh, my son is a victim and being kidnapped in a very evil, corrupt, greedy system where he has been subjected to ongoing abuse, neglect, and exploitation because of federal funds. Because I am African American and I speak out about my son as far as the way people treat him, because he has autism, and I've watched over the years, I have seen people just mistreat him and treat him like a dog, mainly because they don't know anything about autism. And then you've got people that are, they have those type of personalities. They're just the lowest of the low, because anytime you mistreat somebody that can't help themselves or advocate for themselves, you're just pure human scum. So unfortunately, that's what we have in our lives right now. But I am a Christian, so is my son, and I I've been told by the Lord, because I don't, not only do I speak out, I've, called different agencies and, the federal government. And, you know, I had filed complaints with the probate court, which is corrupt. The courts, the agencies, the judges, the magistrates, the attorneys, the court investigators, they're all rotten. But I went ahead and filed complaints. I even filed a complaint against my son's evil, greedy, lying, because she lies on me something terribly, um, limited guardian, and she was appointed by probate court. Of course, it was a waste of time when I filed against her with probate court, because they're the one that appointed her. These people all get along, go along to get along. They scratch each other's back. They protect each other. They're all corrupt. So, I mean, if you're corrupt, you ain't going to have a problem with somebody else that's corrupt like you. But I also filed a grievance, that's what they call it, with the Ohio Supreme Court Disciplinary Council. And, of course, it went nowhere, because you don't know who knows who. These lawyers, they network, their friends, they might be part of the family or whatever. I mean, they're all just rotten. And like I say many times, because I always give a background in these audio videos, and it's not really video with it, it's just usually audio, but I do have a videotape. And I always give a background. But even God says these people exist. The Bible is just full of injustice. God speaking through the prophets or speaking through people about injustice and how angry he is with it, and what he's going to do about it. And because when you talk injustice, you're not talking about people out on the street. You're talking about these people that work in these court systems, these judges and magistrates and attorneys and stuff that are cheating people out of their rights, oppressing people. They're just rotten. They're very, very evil, greedy. They accept bribes. So, it's really, really a pathetic thing for some people, because there's a lot of innocent people that go through the so-called legal system. There's people in jail, there's people in prison that are innocent. And, these people, because they get away with that stuff, they think that God is not watching and that God can't stop them. But God can't stop them, especially when you're dealing with a Christian, because I've seen God deal with a very evil attorney that was my son's guardian ad litem. He did my son wrong, he did me wrong, been doing a lot of people wrong, bragged about it, and within a year, he died unexpectedly. And I know God did it because God made sure I found out about it. Nobody called me and told me this man was dead and gone. The Lord made me get a newspaper that day, and I usually never get a newspaper. And there, his name was in the obituary. So God will let you know he's in this thing. And he told me no more, because I was called Aaron Sanford. She was too cowardly to speak to me. So whenever I would call, it was always her voicemail that I would have to get, because answer the phone. Oh, she's not here, or she's with another client. So I would leave messages, you know. But God told me, no more messages. You done all you could do. You step back and let me handle it. I already got this thing handled. And if I want your son back home, he coming back home. He said, but I got everything already taken care of. Because I don't believe God wants Marquis to live his life the way he's been forced to live his life. You know, his health has went down. They still got him on Thorazine. They put him on lithium and Progetin. He got a real bad skin condition. He hasn't been allowed to see me over 2 years because I collect a lot of evidence. I got 3 Facebook pages to show people I ain't full of hot air, and neither is my son. It ain't just our imagination. There's documents, there's pictures, there's recordings, to show, the things that I have had to see when I have went to visit my son. No parent that loves their child is not going to want to see what I've seen. I've seen him with fresh injuries, unexplained injuries, and scars, and tattered clothes that didn't belong to him because I bring clothes up to her. I said, just because he's over with you all doesn't stop me from being a mother, because I love my child as much as y'all love y'all's children. And they 95% of those clothes, and they were brand new clothes, sets of clothes, they stole from me. And I got pictures of all that stuff. Just I can prove everything. That's why, I don't have to worry about anybody accusing me of slander. I'm not going to get a letter from anybody's attorney telling me to cease and desist because I'm not lying. And the evidence is there. And that's not all the evidence that I have. So I do have 3 Facebook pages, but the Lord told me, I don't bother with them evil people no more. You step back and let me fight this battle. It's not a battle to me. He says already done. But the Bible tells us the battle is the Lord's. Just step back, be still, let God handle it. So I hadn't heard from him for almost about 5 months, because December 10th, 2016 was the last time he called me. And they don't like him telling me things because he's high functioning. They know I'm exposing them on Facebook. So, God knows how much you can stand. And all that time from December the 10th, 2016, I was thinking of my son. I said, I know you're with him, Lord. I know you're protecting him. I know you're in this thing. I know you already got it handled. It's already done. Because God works in his own way and his own timing. He's got his own appointed time for everything. And I believe 1,000%, 1,000,000,000%, there's appointed time for Marquis to come back home and live and be with his mother. Now, I haven't abused him or neglected him. Actually, I've been a nurse for 30 years. So I don't believe that I would be able to practice nursing if I was an abuser or any registry for abuse and neglect. But you don't have to do things for people to do you wrong or mistreat you. I said, my son ain't done nothing to none of those people, but yet they steal from him, they abuse him, they neglect him. I've seen him punched, I've seen him assaulted. Look at Jesus. He was without sin, but the Bible said he was numbered with transgressors. He was actually executed like a criminal, even though he was actually God in the flesh. He didn't deserve all the treatment that he got. And that's why I said, just because somebody take your guardianship don't mean that it was right. They took it mainly because of the type of mother I am. I just wasn't going to close my mouth, put my head down, and ignored them abusing and neglecting my son. Plus, it's a racial thing because they have always tried to make our family dysfunctional. The mother is, and they even lie on my son like they lie on me and say that I escalate my son. I bet they don't tell them white parents that when their children have meltdowns or, they're having behaviors due to autism and stuff. I bet you they don't do it. But they tell the black mother that. And it's not true. It's a lie that when they say it, they're lying on Marquis, because he adores me and misses me and loves me. And that's the reason why, I made a 3rd page. I said, these idiots are not going to speak for my son. And none of them know what autism is, because if they did, I wouldn't see and hear the things that I have heard over the years. But my third page, well, I'm going to tell you all three of them. The first one is the abuse and neglect of autistic Marquis Tanksley by the government. The second one is justice for autistic Marquis Tanksley. And the third one is called the audio tapes of Marquis Tanksley, his suffering, abuse, and neglect. And it's starting from 2012 all the way up to present time. And I just recorded, because I'm starting from 2012. So this one that I'm making for today is from February the 24th, 2012. So I got many, 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 many more recordings um, to, to actually post. And then Marquis verbalizing his feelings to me. I said, when he's upset, it's not because of me. He's actually venting to me, not because of me. But what else can they say? They can't say that I'm a, you know, uh, that I actually abuse or neglect my son, or that I'm a drug addict, or I don't have no education or anything. But it's just a shame that they were trying to manipulate my son and to get back at me. But I got all the evidence and they don't. But I doubt a practicing RN could be um, somebody that abuses and neglect another individual and still be able to practice as a nurse. And like I said, I've been doing nursing for 30 years now. So, um, but it's a racial thing. I said, because I know they don't tell all them white parents you escalating your child, because when they have meltdowns, my son has never been. Now he might do property destruction, but he's never been where he'll hurt himself. A couple times I seen him hit his head with his fist, but other than that, he doesn't really, and he's never really hit me, except for one time, and that's because he wanted me to. There was a guy saying, "Oh no, we're gonna put you in this apartment," and this was through MRDD, and my son didn't want to go, and so he was mad at the guy, and I happened to be standing close to him, so that's why he hit me. But my son has never really hit me. But some of them are so physically aggressive that they might not do property destruction. They might actually hit themselves or hit people that are closest to them. Because there, you go to the autistic message boards and threads, and you can read about all the different um, things that families with autistic individuals go through. I mean, there's everything, just every type of category, and one of those things would be about the meltdowns that autistic, especially autistic teens, because they hit puberty and hormones. And Marquis got very aggressive too during his teen years. But you could read about someone would have to even wear helmets because they were injuring themselves, or they were hitting their siblings or hitting their parents. I read threads and comments where parents have been bit and black eyes and stuff. And it's not because they were setting off their autistic children. It was probably something else. And it didn't mean that the autistic child didn't love them. Sometimes they'll explode on the parents because they know we have unconditional love versus doing it someplace else. Then sometimes the schools will set them off and stuff. But I have yet to see anybody know how to work with my son, because he's been treated like crap everywhere, everywhere. And I can prove it. All I do is bring out my documents, my evidence, and the evidence can be your documents, it can be pictures, recordings, and that's the way I do it. So when they say that I'm escalating my son just because he might be very, very upset and angry about being at a place, because by the time I would get there, he was, "Mom, take me home. I want to go. Take me home." And I said, he's venting to me, not because of me. And maybe if y'all didn't treat him or knew how to deal with autism, you wouldn't have him hollering and yelling and telling me that. They would have him in sensory overload, and the environment would be too loud, and they would traumatize him by isolating him and restraining him. By the time I get there, he was telling me to take him back home. But I'm just saying it's racism. It's very racial. It's a very racially sick country because I know they didn't tell the white moms and the white fathers that when their sons or daughters with autism is at home having meltdowns. I know they don't tell the white parents that. Period. No debate. And that's why um, this country's going to go down because it's always been America's dirty secret, and everybody's in denial. Not everybody, but the people that um, keep it going. Oh no, we're not racist, in God we trust, and all this kind of stuff. So right now, like I said, he has not been allowed to visit with me since March the 15th, 2015. And that's because of Aaron Sanford, very evil, greedy, lying lawyer. I got evidence of her proving how she lies, proving how she has neglected and abused my son because she just exploits him for an SSI check. And they said, I read where her partner, the office that she practiced out of, John Mashburn, he's got at least 200 wars. So you can just imagine the money that they pull in from the federal government. That they get their SSI checks. And so the Lord knows how much we can stand because I went out and visited my mother and my father and my sister's grave, the day before Mother's Day. And I hadn't heard from my son in 5 months. And I said, Lord, I don't want to worry. I know he's in your hand, but what has happened to him? Is he ill? What have they done with him? Because they don't tell me anything because they know I'm going to expose it. And that Saturday after I left that cemetery, because my mother, I could hear her speaking to me when I was standing at her grave, and my father said, just like your mom said, everything gonna be all right. And my sister too, but I didn't really hear it too much from her grave because I went to all three of their graves and put flowers and stuff. And after I left, all of a sudden, my phone rung. I thought it was my older brother, and I looked over and seen my son's name, you know. And I was just so excited and praising God. I said, "Oh, I haven't heard from you. I love you." And he said, "Oh, I love you too." But if he doesn't call me, it's not because he doesn't want to. It's because they won't allow him to. But they telling me he has to get off the phone. So we only got to talk for probably about 45 minutes. And the girl in the background, you got to get off the phone. But God just knew that I needed to hear from my son and that he needed to hear from me because, we're Christians. We always pray. I try to strengthen him, but I'm strengthening and encouraging myself at the same time that Jesus is in this thing. And I said, he got it handled. I said, you just hang on in there and, you know, and remember that God is with you. He's going to protect you and he's going to bring you back home. Because a lot of people forget about that. Sometimes we Christians can forget about God's will. And that's in the book of Proverbs. People can make all the plans they want, but God's will be done. And I just thanked the Lord. I said, you knew that I had to hear from my son. Because remember, I hadn't heard from him. He hadn't been allowed to call me since December 10th, 2016. And I haven't heard from him since May the 13th, 2017, when he called me the day before Mother's Day. And that's because he told me, I'm going to call you tomorrow. Because he would call me every day. He would be at home living with me. But the Lord said, step back, let me handle this thing. I don't want you calling them people. Don't send no more complaints and letters. He said, pray for them. Because God will, show you things in visions, because I had a vision. And I won't say what it was completely about. But part of it was Marquis was back home. But, and it was a vision. It could be real quick. It can be like 5-10 seconds. It's not really a dream. But God can speak to you through dreams too. But he told me, don't you worry about it. You go ahead and keep doing the things that you're doing. and I'll take care. He said, it's handled. It's done. I ain't got to scratch my head. He said, because this is an army of people that only God can deal with. There's some things that only God can deal with, and He wants to deal with it. He wants to show His power, especially if you have faith. And if you give it to God, He will show His power. But you have to remember, it's His way, His methods, and at His appointed time. So Marquis is coming back home. So on this particular tape, um, or recording, Marquis uh, tells me that he why did I know that he was upset? Because he always want me to know that he's still in pain and his feelings. And he has a right to verbalize and vent to his mother, you know. And I said, if you idiots wasn't treating him like an animal, I said, because even these inmates get visits and phone calls. I said, that's emotional abuse, physical abuse, medical abuse, and everything else. Because, you know, his skin got all bad and itchy, you know. They said psoriasis or something, but anyway, he didn't have it when he was at home. The Thorazine, and I just prayed, Lord, don't let that Thorazine or lithium or any of those psychotropic medications harm me. But God said, I got it. Because my son is anointed, and I know the Lord wants to use him. Me too, but especially him. Because he ain't going through that because God thinks he deserves it. I can tell you that. He ain't going through that because he deserves it. But God will take it and use it as a testimony. But I know that God will spike booties too. Just like he did with David Belinkie, the attorney that he let me know that he put his light out. And God made sure I found out about it. But when he was talking to me and bragging about all the abuse that he does, and I call it abuse because he said, quote, I run over people in court. God was very angry with him. I knew God was going to punish him. And I felt the wrath of God. I didn't know what it was then. I said, what is this I feel? This is this anger. You know, it's like it was overshadowing the conversation. And I said, well, it's not me feeling angry towards him, David Belinkie. And I said, and it's not directed towards me. But I realized later on that it was the wrath of God. Because this man thought he was a phenomenon and unstoppable, and he's all powerful. And you got to watch that when you're messing with Christians. Because Jesus promises to overcome the world for us. That we don't have to worry about, we can have trials and tribulations, but he said, be a good cheer. I have overcome the world. So he's in this thing. In every area of our life, Jesus is in it. So you got to be careful when you mess with Christians. So, on this particular audio tape, it's from February 24th, 2012. I haven't got to the 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016 tapes yet. And he was asking me, did I know he was upset? And I said, well, I don't know, because, you know, and I don't play the whole conversation, just where people can hear him say in his own words how he feels. And he said, well, I'm missing, because he always talks like, I miss you, man, and that sort of thing. I guess he heard that at school or something. But he said, you know, he was upset and sad. He said, because I miss my home, I miss you, I miss everything, man. And then there is a snippet of him telling me he was happy because I went over there to pick him up. This is when he was at Columbus Developmental Center. And I went over there to pick him up, to take him to the doctor. And I was telling him, I said, well, we're going to go to the doctor, then we're going to go see your favorite streets, and then we're going to go ahead and get something to eat while we're out. And he said, I'm so happy, you know. So for all the naysayers, because like I said, they want to try to, and I said, these people are just truly ill. They're truly sick in the head. I said, because that's a terrible thing, and that's something that God's going to deal with too, because he designed the family. But they have always wanted to put a wedge between me and my son, to destroy our family bond and try to make us a dysfunctional family. And they want him to hate me and all that. But the major reason is because I'm getting, evidence. I take pictures, and that's why I said those 3 Facebook pages. The last one is having audio, um, videos posted on it, like this one. The other two have a whole lot of evidence. And I just ask people just to make sure that when you go to the page, don't go to the last recent post. Go to the very beginning where you can see a lot of the uh, pictures and stuff, especially on the abuse and neglect page. Just go from the very beginning of the page when I first created it, and the justice page too. So that's what this tape is all about. And the Lord, made them have him call me, you know, and I was praising God, and we were praying, and I was kissing him over the phone and hugging him. I always do anyway, and just let you know how much I love him. I said, don't give up on Jesus. He got this thing already handled. The date's already been set. Because I've seen Jesus do some other things, but my son has suffered so much. He's been mistreated so bad. And I have too with him as a mother. I said, because that's my motherhood rights. That's why I said this country is going to go down because it's so hypocritical. Everybody's in denial and they blame the victims, especially with the racial illness. God is keeping that out front and center. And then people wonder why he allowed Trump to get in there. Because God is, you know, um, um, will use anybody for these pathways to prophecies to come true. But this country, has been such a mockery of God in a lot of ways. But he had my son to call me May the 13th, 2017. And it was just, and then when the girl told him he had to get off the phone, he said, she's saying I got to get off the phone, it's like, but I said, thank you, because I know that was God. That was nothing but God, because he knew that I needed to hear from my son, you know. Um, Even though you have faith and you know that God is with him, sometimes you just, and that's my emotional pain. And I said, as a mother, but I'm done with this country, because he ain't got no life, he ain't got no liberty, and he sure ain't had no justice in pursuit of happiness. I said, anytime you can't even see your own loving mother, or mother can't even see their own child on their birthdays, but he's not allowed to call me on his birthday or my birthday, or he's done miss holidays, Jesus Day, that we call that Christmas, Resurrection Day, Easter, no holidays or nothing. That's wrong. I said, even these inmates, guilty inmates, are able to have visits and phone calls with their families. And God sees it. And that's why I said, these people, better uh, repent and hope and pray, because I know that they're retaliating against me. But the Lord said, you ain't got to worry about that, because they can't stop him from coming back home if I want him to come back home. And when I want him to come back home. But, the Lord sees all. He knows things that I don't even know. But it's just been so much suffering for my son. And that's why I said I'm going to let people hear in his own words, from his own mouth, his feelings. Because he can vent his feelings. And I said, and one of the most sickest things, like I said, is them trying to break up our family. And I said, you can hear my son telling me he misses me and loves me over and over again, just like he tells me I want to come home, and he describes abuse and neglect. And that's what these audio videos would do for this audio tape page. I said, because they're not going to speak for my son. But I also have a YouTube channel, and it's kind of probably about 60 audio videos and counting. And then the last time I was able to actually lay my eyes on my son was on July the 8th, 2015. And that's on videotape. And that's heartbreaking. How they try to make him go off on me, and how he was begging me to stay with him and not to leave. And me see, and at that time, I had not seen him for 3 months. And he had gained so much weight because they had increased his Thorazine, which he shouldn't even be on. and lithium, and so his weight had ballooned, and it was just it's heartbreaking. But that's on videotape. Then I have an audio tape of when my son was attacked, punched in the chest by a thug over there at the State of Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities Columbus Developmental Center, which is an ICF MR facility. And it was towards the dark dawn. Yeah, it was pretty much dark because I would have videotaped it if I could, but I was able to audio tape it because God allowed me to see this thug do that. But the boy didn't know I was there, and that's God. He had me where I could see Marquis because I wasn't standing right close to him, and but he couldn't see me because if he'd seen me, he would have never done it. But you can hear me, my son screaming, saying he hit me, and me saying, "Oh, you hit him," and you can hear the thug on there. I didn't hit him. I grabbed him by his shirt, which is another form of assault, you know. But he wasn't gonna say, "Yeah, I hit him in the chest," but he did, say, "Yeah, I didn't hit him. I grabbed him by his shirt." All on tape, all on audio tape. So what's done is done. And I'm looking forward to Jesus bringing my son back home. I miss him so much, and I love him so much. But it's going to be God's will. But the Lord said, "Don't you go ahead and do what you are doing." And because He said, "Bless me so much," and He said, "I'm gonna bless your son even more." He said, "Cause I already got this thing handled." He said, "Just pray for your enemies because they're going to need it." So with that, I'm going to go ahead and play this recording. And like I said, it's real short. The first portion, Marquis is, making sure that I knew he was upset. And he says why, because he misses his home, he misses me, and he misses everything. Just like he does now. And then the second portion is when when I was telling we're going to go to the doctor and what we're going to do while we were uh, gone. And he said, "Oh, I'm so happy." But, he has no quality of life. My son loves, but all this stuff is waiting for him. Because right now he's living in poverty. He doesn't get to watch any cable TV or music. He used to play sports. He's missing me, his family, his home. He likes to listen to music. He likes to watch cable TV. He's got all kind of hobbies. You wouldn't believe all the things my son likes to collect, but I got it all here waiting for him, because the Lord's going to restore his health and everything back to him and his home and his family. So, but the Lord said, "Don't you fight with them evil people. This is my thing. I got that." He said, "I already got it handled. Done." And he said, "When that day comes, you're going to be bringing him back home. It's going to be the way I want it to be." But he said, "I'm with your son. You have to remember, I'm with your son. And you just ask for peace. Like you tell Marquis, keep the peace of Jesus. Through Jesus, we get our peace. Same thing for you. Because it's been hard. But the Lord just said, boom, had him call me. And I was just ecstatic. So anyway, let's go ahead and do this um, recording. You will find it in the YouTube channel, and I'll also put it on the audio tapes. Marquis Tanksley is suffering abuse and neglect. Um, and there's many, many more. It's just many, many, many audio tapes. And unfortunately, until February 2013, I was taping on a microcassette. So it doesn't sound that clear for the tapes before February 2013. After that, they're going to sound pretty clear because I start taping on a smartphone and a voice recorder. But you could still hear it. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play this. This is from February the 24th, 2012. And um, it was actually at Columbus Developmental Center. And it was a visit because I used to go visit him all the time. I've seen ants and dust balls and all sorts of stuff. But anyway, here we go. So there you have it, and I'll play it again. At the beginning, you can hear him say that, and he's, and so at the beginning, you could say, or you could hear him say, that I miss my house, I miss you, I miss everything, man. And then at the end, he tells me that he's happy. And, they're trying to make him forget about his mother or break, like I said, break up that bond. And I said, that's a really, really, really sick thing. And I think it's pretty sinful because, and sin is sin, but, God designed a family. And just like he designed marriage. And for them to try to uh, stop him from getting the love and companionship and nurturing from his mother, I don't think God's too happy with that. Of course, it affects me as a mother. I said, they're messing with my motherhood. I said, because I don't know why they think, what, I'm supposed to walk away or forget about my son? I love my son just like they love their sons and daughters, or whatever they got in their lives. But I know God is not too happy with that. I said, the only person that really loves him and will advocate for him, they want to try to, push out of his life and hopefully try to get him where uh, uh, he, uh, what, he's not going to forget about his mother, that he's going to not have a bond with his mother. Because and that's why I said, I'm going to put these audio tapes out there and let people hear his suffering, the pain, when he's describing abuse and neglect, and the pain of missing his mother and missing his home, and the things that he likes to do and stuff, missing the quality of life he has. Ain't nothing they can do about it either. So, again, this will be on the audio tape page. Visit the Justice page, Justice for Autistic Marquis Tanksley. Visit the Abuse and Neglect page. It's called the Abuse and Neglect of Autistic Marquis Tanksley by the government. Those two pages, please start at the time when the page was, or the date that the page was newly created. Don't just go from the recent post, and you will see all the evidence. Not everything I have, but enough evidence to show people I'm not just full of hot air. And then go to the YouTube channel, and it's just a whole bunch of the audio videos. There's quite a bit, and it's just sad. It really, really is. So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't have any kind of, as far as United States and America is concerned, it's going to go down. It's been just so hypocritical, you know, and everybody in denial, and God is putting it out there front and center. Because, see, people got to remember there's a God. He has a will, and when he acknowledges things, just like when people can't tell me that injustice don't exist, they can't tell me racism doesn't exist, because God talks about these things in the Bible. And he lets us know how he feels about it. Because God said in First John, the book of First John, not the Gospel of John, but First John, how can you say you love me who you have not seen and hate your brother who you have seen? And then, like I said, the Bible's just full of injustice. It's just from the Old Testament all the way to the New Testament. So God even says that these people, exist. That, there are human beings that do these things. And when he's talking about injustice, he's not talking about the average Joe out on the street. He's talking about these judges and look at all them crooks they have in Washington, D.C. and government, all these politicians and stuff. But God will expose, even God exposes things, and he'll use people to expose things. Because it's supposed to be all racial things, supposed to be, just honky-dory in this country, and it still is a festering sore on this country. And God has been bringing out one case after another. And America is just, it's in that time period along with the rest of the world where God is showing his authority, because it's going to be the way Jesus described it as far as the pathways to prophecy. This North Korea thing and Russia and China, and it's all controlled by God. And that's why you'll see some of the things that you do see. In a way, I feel sorry for Donald Trump because he don't know what he got himself into. But, God is humbling him. Because when you think you got all the power in the world because you're rich and you're used to barking orders and getting your way, God will allow you to get in a position where he'll humble you. And also, he also uses it. He can use anybody, you know, for these prophecies to come true. So with that, that is it. Um, like I said, I'm praising God right now, thanking him again that he allowed, um, by his authority, my son was able to call me May the 13th, 2017, after not hearing for 5 months. And with my heart being heavy and stuff, and I was able to hear his voice, and I was trying to ask him, where was he, and that sort of thing, and what was going on. But at least the Lord let me know. He said, and I thanked him. I said, that was you. If not them, it's you. You made that phone call come through. Because I know my son been waiting, you know, and I haven't heard from him since May the 13th, 2017. But the Lord said, don't worry about it. It's handled. You just stay faithful, keep your faith. I got it. Let me take care of this army of corrupt people. Because I can bring down systems and nations and governments and individuals and kings and queens and anybody else. He said, but you done all you can do. He said, I got this handle. So with that, thank you for listening. Um, Jesus is Lord, and I love you, Marquis. I miss you so much, Marquis. I'm proud of you. Jesus is with you. He's got it all handled. That's the way he told me. He said, I'll handle. He said, matter of fact, it's already handled. The date's already been set for him to return, and anything else I'm going to do in this thing. He said, just ask for my peace. And I just can't praise him enough, because he's the answer. Jesus is the answer to the situation. And his will be done. And I know now that Jesus, well, I've been knowing it, but when he told me that, I know now not to, like I said, I ain't calling no federal agencies no more. I'm not going to call Sanford. I ain't writing no more complaints to the courts that just as corrupt. Like I told that gal that I guess they assigned her to investigate the grievance that I filed with the Ohio Disciplinary Council. I said, you people are just sickening. I said, you're all corrupt. Because not only did I put in that grievance how Sanford was neglecting and abusing and exploiting my son and letting other people do it, because she got him in some old rundown, nasty town home. I mean, one of them real small ones. And the neighborhood so bad they had to put a black metal lock gate around it. And all of those townhomes, it's just like all the rest of the little small, like those little Section 8 townhomes. As you walk in, ain't no room or anything. It's just awful. But I told him about that, and then I told him that she lied on me more than once. Because if you go to the Ohio Supreme Court Disciplinary Council website, they say that's a no-no. A lawyer is not supposed to and is not allowed to lie to a client or to the court. And that's what she's doing. She lied to the court, to the corrupt probate court. And she lied to him more than once on me. Because she's telling a court investigator that that I had stopped visits, and Lord shut that supervised visit down because she had us sign up to do visits at a supervised visit agency. You know, like when they got custody cases and mothers and fathers and kids and stuff. I mean, this woman is wicked. She just, to me, she's like a witch. She's just a wicked witch. But, you know, Lord said pray for her. Because when God get angry with you, and sometimes he'll punish you, sometimes he just moves people aside. But Marquis is going to live the life that Jesus wants him to live, and so am I. And when it's time for him to take out the garbage, he'll take out the garbage. And God does that. And Jesus is God in the flesh. So when I talk about God, I'm talking about Jesus. Because God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit are one. And when the Lord or Jesus, God takes out the trash, and sometimes he can take it out, you know, where he just put your light out. So, anyway, there you have it. Um, Continue to follow the pages. I thank you for your prayers. And Jesus is Lord. And I'm praising him right now for what he has already done in this situation and how, you know, that he has already fought the battle and he doesn't lose any battles and have won. So, thank you for listening and have a blessed one.